Welcome to Torah Nuggets. Parashat Pinchas lesson is dedicated to Ilui Nishmat of Avi Mori David ben Zohara. It's very interesting that Parashat Pinchas is always during the time of Ben HaMetzarim, the 3-week period between Yud Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av. And also interestingly enough, that during that time of the reading of Parashat Pinchas, we don't read the Haftarah of Parashat Pinchas, but rather we read the Haftarah Parashat Matot that talks about Yirmiyahu, as it says over there in the Haftarah. I'll read the Pesukim. V'yi devar Hashem elai lemor. Ma ata ro'eh Yirmiyahu? Yirmiyahu, what do you see? Va'omar makel shaked ani ro'eh. He says, I see a stick with almonds. He says, you're seeing good because, and then there's a play on the words that the reason because you saw an almond, which is a shaked, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Ki shoked ani al dvar la'asoto. I hasten my word. I quickly do what I plan out to do. And this is so interesting, because when you think about this hint, this play on words that Kadosh Baruch Hu did with the prophet Yirmiyahu about an almond, brings to mind a different almond. The almonds of the machloket of Korach and Adato with Moshe Rabbeinu and Aharon. If you recall, in the machloket of Korach, it says over there that Korach was against HaKadosh, he was against the appointment of Aharon as the Kohen Gadol, and his claim was Kulanu Kedoshim. And Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, "Vayidaber el Korach v'kol adato lemor boker v'yoda Hashem et asher lo v'et hakadosh v'ikriv elav." He says, "Let's come back and we'll do a little bit of a job interview. You all claim that you can claim that you are better at the role of a Kohen Gadol or leadership. Let's bring that your job application to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and let's see what he says." And we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made them bring the Ketoret, and later on they were all burnt to a crisp and the ground opened itself up and there was that big punishment. But later on there was an additional instruction, which was a head of each tribe should bring a staff, and Aharon should bring his staff as well and leave it where the Mishkan was, and whoever's staff blooms flowers, that's going to be the one that is chosen. And as it says in Perek Tet Zayin Pasuk not Perek Tet, Yud Zayin Pasuk Chav Gimel, it says over there, Shnem Aser Matot, 12 staffs, Ish ad Shemot Yichtov al Mateu, everybody writes their names on the Mateh, and Aharon also writes his name on the Mateh of the tribe of Levi. And it says, in Pasuk Chav Gimel, והנה ממחרת ויבוא משה אל אוהל ההודות, והנה פרח מטה אהרון לבית לוי, ויוצא פורח ויוצא ציץ, ויגמול שקדים. And the following day, the staff of Aharon gives forth flowers, and it gives off almonds. So I thought to say, what's the connection between the almonds of Aharon's staff and the almonds of the prophecy of Yirmiyahu? So maybe we can tie it in together as such. Did you know that almonds take 3 weeks to bloom? They bloom very, very quick. And also, another interesting part about almonds is that almonds, sometimes they are sweet in the beginning and then they become bitter at the end, or sometimes they grow bitter in the beginning and they become sweeter at the end. Now, that's interesting, because we could plug this information right now to the Haftarah as well as the Parasha. Korach, when he started his machloket on Moshe and Aharon, what was it? Lashon hara, kulam acharav. We see that Korach was speaking, negatively about Moshe and Aharon. And not only that, he had so many people that were following him. He had the most important people that were in the desert following him and his movement. And surely that felt sweet. Surely there was a moment where he felt that this was all worth it, that people are following me, and that I'm able to, in the sweetness and the enjoyment that a person gets out of gossiping about somebody else. Oh yeah, that might have been sweet. However, it ended up being bitter. Now what happened in the end? That ended up that everybody got burnt in the plague. The ground opened up itself. The ground opened up and swallowed up Korach v'adato v'et mishpachto v'et kol asher lo. Everything that belonged to him was swallowed up. So we see that the staff that produced flowers and almonds that showed that Aharon is the one that's chosen by Kadosh Baruch Hu for that role. In the beginning, on Korach's side, it was so sweet to go and then start this machlok and have all these people following him. That was the beginning of the almond being sweet. But later on, at the end, it ended up being bitter when he was swallowed by the ground. In Parashat Pinchas, we see something else. Another thing that started sweet and ended up bitter. We see that Kozbi v'Zimri, that sin of committing adultery with a Nasi from the tribe of Shimon and the daughter of the king of Midian. And in the beginning, you might say that it was a sweet experience. They had their physical pleasure, that they enjoyed it. But later on, when Pinchas came and exacted justice and stood up for the honor of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that was a bitter end for them as well. So we see that sometimes things start as sweet, but eventually end up bitter. This brings us to the Haftarah. Remember what it said in the Haftarah? In the Haftarah it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used the word shaked, ki shoked ani al devarai, that Hashem's words, he's particular to performing what he promises in a fast manner. Why would that be? Because the Haftarah talks about the destruction of the temple, and we know that between the Yud Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av, there's exactly 3 weeks, exactly the same amount of time that it takes for an almond to grow. So the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu said shoked, that he uses the word shoked, just that he's going to act like a shaked. He's going to act like an almond, which is what? He's going to exact justice on the Jewish people in 3 weeks. From Yud Zayin B'Tammuz was the breaching of the wall, and by Tisha B'Av was what? It was the destruction of the temple. And we see that this too we can apply of something that starts off bitter and eventually becomes sweet. The 3 weeks are bitter right now. The Ben HaMetzarim is a time that is one of the darkest periods of the year for the Jewish people. But in the future, these dark days are going to turn to happy days, to Yamim Tovim, and Tisha B'Av will be, Ki Ba Moed, will be an additional holiday added to the Jewish people. Shabbat Shalom V'Orach.